Williams and Nate Orchard are gone to the NFL. Who do we expect to be those playmakers along the defensive front in the Pac-12 in 2015? Mark Rogers TV breaking down the top 5 linemen with some help from Jack Follman of Pacific Takes. We've got Don King of Last Word on Sports and also Mike WR from Gojo Bruin. Jack, we start with you. Top 5 along the defensive front coming into 2015.
All right, starting off with number 5, going to be a very familiar last name. This guy is Lowell Lotulelei. He's only a sophomore, but as you might recognize his last name from his older brother Star, he looked a lot like Star as a freshman. He's just a rock in the middle for the Utes, and he's a big guy. I think he's around 6'2", 310, 315. Huge run stuffer, going to be a big star for the Utes. Number 4, a guy who I think is really going to finally come into his own as a junior, Eddie Vanderdoes from UCLA. He came in as a 5-star recruit. He's flashed his moments, but maybe quite hasn't turned into the player some thought he would be a wide array. I think this is the year he becomes that All-Pac-12 player. Number 3, maybe a guy people don't know as well, Hunter Dimick. He's a defensive end from Utah. Everyone knows Nate Orchard, but Hunter Dimick also put up huge numbers with sacks and tackles for loss. I think this is going to be a really breakout year for him with Orchard off to the NFL. Number 2, Kenny Clark, the defensive tackle from UCLA. Just an all-around guy at the defensive tackle position who can really affect the game. Probably the best overall defensive tackle in the conference this year without question. Number 1's an easy choice, DeForest Buckner, defensive end from Oregon. He's a monster who's like 6'6", 290, 295. Even though Eric Armstead was a first-round pick this year, Buckner was by far game in and game out the best player on that defensive line for the Ducks, and he could have been a first-round pick maybe if he would have declared, but they got a huge score and got him to come back.
And Jack, just to back you up statistically on some of the guys you mentioned here, Buckner coming into his senior season at 13 tackles for loss last year. Kenny Clark coming into his junior campaign with the Bruins at 5.5 tackles for loss. Hunter Dimick, you mentioned him with filling up the stat sheet at 14.5 tackles for loss and 10 sacks for the Utah Utes. All right, Don, let's see what you've got. Top 5 D linemen.
Yeah, I'm a little mad at Jack because I think he got a peek at my list somehow, even though we're like 2,700 miles apart or whatever it is.
Tough to do, Jack.
I only have
I'm sneaky, like the Cardinals.
I only have one difference. I had Lotulelei just outside my top 5. I had him at number 6, so he was going to be my guy to keep an eye on. At number 5, I have Alex Balducci at Oregon. Kind of providing some interior strength alongside Buckner. And then my top 4 exactly the same as what Jack had. I've got Vanderdoes from UCLA at number 4. Hunter Dimick from Utah at number 3. You're right, he wasn't as highly heralded as many, but boy did he give my Cardinal a hard time last fall in Palo Alto, so I remember him. Number 2, Kenny Clark at UCLA, and number 1 with a bullet, DeForest Buckner, and really it's not that close in the conference this coming season. The kid's an absolute stud.
Okay, Mike, we keep hearing the same names, so let's see if you can mix things up and maybe throw a wild card at us.
I do. It's pretty much the same, but I have an honorable mention just because I couldn't fit everyone in, and that's Lowell Lotulelei. Utah's just going to have a fantastic. Yeah, they had a great defensive line last year, and it's going to continue with him. And another guy that's going to be on my list. But number 5, I have Kenny Clark, who this kid's just a monster. He can run over people from UCLA, nose tackle, and in the 3-4 defense with the new defensive coordinator. I think he's going to just improve even more this year. What am I? Number 4. Here's my curveball. Antwaun Woods from USC. USC has always had very good defense. They're going to continue to have good defense, and on the line, Woods is going to be a great nose tackle for USC. Not going to be as good as Williams, but at the same time, he can hold his own. I then have Hunter Dimick out of Utah. Like I said, like Lotulelei, they just churn out defensive linemen. They're going to be fantastic, and he's going to be one heck of a guy to try to avoid. Eddie Vanderdoes is my number 2. I just think he's been a beast. He can hold his side of the line. Not much of a pass rusher, but at the same time, you don't want him running after you at all. And then DeForest Buckner, Oregon has just had great offense and defense, and it's continued from Chip Kelly to Mark Helfrich, and DeForest Buckner is proof of that because once again they're going to have a fantastic defensive line, and he's definitely going to be the number 1 in my book.
You mentioned Antwaun Woods out of USC. He's a kid that was hurt pretty seriously at the end of the regular season, missed the Holiday Bowl against Nebraska. Should be in good shape for 2015. Josh Tupawa out of Colorado, a guy that was set for a big 2015. He was kicked off the football team during the spring. Also look out for way under the radar, but Elijah Qualls, hear good things out of him in Washington. All right. So we've got Don King of Last Word on Sports, also Jack Follman of Pacific Takes, and from Gojo Bruin, of course, it's Mike WR to help us out with the top 5 in the Pac-12. This version is the defensive front, and of course check out our other videos outlining the Pac-12 at each and every position. Gentlemen, always appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Take care.